Let's take a look at prompt chaining technique. As the name suggests, the prompt chaining works like an output from the previous step of the interaction goes into an input into the next prompt, and then it goes into the next prompt. And it's probably easier to see the example, so let's take a look. So this is from the course material. The first prompt begins like this. Write an introduction to project management explaining what it is and why it is important. Now, this should resemble something very similar to zero-shot prompting, where I don't give an example, I don't give any steps. It's just a simple beginning of the prompt. Introduction to project management. It's an art and science of planning, organizing, and overseeing the execution of a project to achieve specific goals. That sounds great, and has outputted some of the why is project management important as it should, following the prompt. Now, it doesn't end here. I actually want to use this output as an input into the next prompt. So I'm going to copy and paste the next prompt based on the interaction, which is everything that it outputted here. Explain the key management methodologies such as Agile, Waterfall, and Scrum. And I'm going to submit. And I'm going to follow the output. Key project management methodologies, Agile, Waterfall, and then Scrum. Now, I won't read all this output, but essentially the output from this introduction had an effect, had an influence on the answer that it generates from this prompt. So output gets combined with the next prompt and then generating the output. Now, it doesn't end here because I'm going to ask the next question. Using the methodologies discussed, which is Agile, Waterfall, Scrum, I don't need to repeat the part, right? Because it knows what it is that it just outputted. Describe the essential tools and techniques that project managers use to plan and execute projects. Essential tools and techniques in project management. Okay, each methodology, whether Agile, Waterfall, or Scrum, which it clearly derived its list from the previous prompt about listing all these methodologies out. It's going to now talk about all the tools. WBS, Gantt chart, project roadmap, backlog, capacity planning. Ooh, and then it talks about a lot of popular tools. I've used all these tools for project management. Some of these techniques and charts, well, it goes deeper and deeper. Wow, it's able to now give me the table of how Gantt charts is compatible with the waterfall, but not for the Agile or Scrum. That's very interesting insight. Now, it doesn't end here because based on all these information that we've seen before, I'm going to ask, identify common challenges faced in project management and provide strategies to overcome them. Project management is a complex process, often riddled with challenges that can jeopardize project success. Okay, so it's outputting all these informations. Maybe it's deriving some of these tools from the example that it's outputted in the previous step. Yep, all these terms sounds really familiar. And then after it outputs everything, I'm going to ask the last question. I'm going to say, summarize best practice for effective project management, building on the challenges and solutions discussed. So I'm asking it to look at this, look at what you just outputted, and then now can you give me a summary of it? Then it's telling me define clear goals, develop project plan. And then again, you've seen this before, mention of WPS and Gantt charts. And all these Agile, Scrum are coming from the previous step. Remember, it we ask it to talk about tools. So it's referencing Confluence, Notion. It reiterated Trello, Jira, Asana. So you can see the power of this prompt chaining is that you don't have to ask for all these summary from the beginning. Instead of saying, hey, just give me best practices for effective project management, you can ask it to break the steps into smaller steps, but not in a way where you pre-plan all the stuff, but more in the way of, okay, let's build up on your answer that you're giving me, and I'm going to ask you to use your output into generating the next response. And then the end result is much more complex, that it integrates all these ingredients, all these outputs that it generated previously in this thread. And this in itself become a rich wealth of knowledge about project management, about the tools, about the challenges, about the methodologies. And I would say this would be much more effective way to interact with AI, instead of just asking for it to give you best practice for effective project management, which would not be drawing up from all these informations. Instead, it will try to generate something similar, but may not be as detailed. And also with the prompt chaining, you can ask it to focus on certain topics, right? Like I ask it to focus on the topics of methodologies and tools and the challenges. But if I want to influence it into drafting up in different ways, I can talk about maybe not the tools, but maybe I can ask about what are the books that I should be reading about to learn project management. And that would affect the final output. And this is one very effective technique into guiding AI into getting the results you want.